hello and welcome to a Wednesday stream. What the fuck? Yes, Wednesday streams. It's a thing since I was gone Monday and will be gone Friday. And hello, Diamond Cat. Welcome. Hello, hello. And congratulations, Hink Bench, for first. Hey. Congrats, congrats. And hello, new people. Hello, hello. Hello, author. Hello, author chat. Welcome. Hello, hello. You already know what we're gonna read. But I haven't told everyone what we're gonna read. Couldn't be me. Oh my god. I know that it's probably late. It's very late for you. I'm sorry for this. But yes, once again, we have the author in chat. This seems to be a trend now. We have Guilty 3, we had Cleo's, and now we have I don't even like. It's obviously a play on Violet, but I don't want to say, so I don't want to say wrong either. Violet? Violet? Because Violet, right? But thank you, welcome. Violet. Yes. Because I was like, okay, I don't want to. Yes, I saw. Also streamer, author. Yes, I was correct. And hello. Yeah. We will start very soon. I just want to get everything up correct. But yes, we're gonna read a completely new novel today, and it will be revealed. Whoa! Final Smile is here! Hello. Her horns are gumdrops. Huh. Amazing. Amazing. I don't have any horns, but since I'm reading today, I have glasses. They're not. Okay, but we'll just get right into it because I don't have anything else to say anyway. Thank you. The same. Thanks. Thank you. We also do sing sometimes. Shameless plug. Yes, we have been reading a lot. Sadly, those videos had to be privated, but we read one story that was like 1,500 chapters. And then yesterday we read a viewer's novel, and today we're reading Violet's novel. And then I have another one coming up as well. Ooh, exciting. But today we're focusing on Violet's. And we also do some shiny hunting sometimes, some other random fucking games. We play games occasionally. But now we read. No. This will take a while, don't worry. And I saw you updated like 15 hours ago. I was like, damn! More chapters already. Oh no. Standard though. Cooked. Yes, I saw once a week. We're gonna read the applications. No. So I will say sorry in advance because we're gonna probably do some fucked up shit with this novel. Last time, yesterday, we read, and it all became about meth chimpanzees all of a sudden. I don't know if there. I feel there was a mention and slugs. We also talked about slugs a lot. There was no slugs, and that was very sad. And we wanted slugs. So yes. But here it is. Hello, here I am. We are reading Growing Lilies today that I have found. There's no meth chimps in this novel, only words. Oh no. No meth chimpanzees? Guess we can't read this novel after all. Okay, but this is Growing Lilies that I found while scrolling, and I was like, this looks very cute. This looks fun. Nice. Something that it spoke to me. So now I wanted to read it and see. No meth. We'll probably find a way. I believe in you. And since it's early, I still need to cough. Which will happen. Your mom will find out. Immediately hits me with your mom jokes. Okay. So today it's time for a new novel, Growing Lilies. And here is the synopsis. Lily woke up to find the world ended without her. An agoraphobic young woman must learn to live in a world completely devoid of other people. Confronted by the silent decay of this new world and her own fears and weakness, Lily must work hard to grow into a person who can survive and thrive here. It's a story about solitude, about self-exploration, and about growing from less than nothing into something amazing. Updates Tuesday and sometimes more. It's in there, so we have to say it. But yes, and that's literally all I've read. I haven't read anything else. I don't know anything else about it. I saw some. I saw that it had nice ratings, obviously, as you can see, and it has many views, many favorites, and the reviews I've seen were all positive. So, hell yeah! Please don't. I will say that I say more fucked up things that I don't read. But yes. This will be interesting already. No. Never, never. I've already been abused by another author who puts in words that I can't say. That is hard for me to pronounce. But okie dokie then. Then you know a little bit about it. You know that it's nice. Chitin, yes. Fuck chitin. Chitin can go fuck itself forever. I didn't get carapace at least. Or Goliath. But it's gonna happen, I swear to God. Sadly. It will hit me at some point again. But okay, then we'll press read. 0.000. That's a good start. Just moving my notes. Then we will be ready. A little sippy. Okay. How do I say this? In chapter 0? I guess it's chapter 0. Lily woke to find she'd toppled out of bed. Again. She didn't know why she'd suddenly developed the habit, but hitting the floor was no more comfortable the third time in a week than it was the first. She groaned and reached an arm onto her bed to pull her blanket down over her. Except the floor. Fuck you, gravity. Fuck you, life. Leave me alone. But as she tried to fall asleep again, a smell was keeping her from drifting completely off. She eventually sat up. The clink of the empty cans she'd been sleeping on, falling over met her ears. Her room was dark, apart from the bit of sunlight that made it around her black-out curtains. A sea of cans, dirty dishes, and garbage greeted her for the morning. Another day had come, as it always did. It didn't matter. Lily's days were all the same. She lived alone. She hadn't been seen by another human being in, honestly, she didn't even know. At least several months. Damn! How she gets all these cans. She ordered all of her food online. Well, answered, and waited until people left to collect it. What? Outside okay. I was like, to collect the empty cans. Do people collect their empty cans? That's insane. Put out your trash and someone just comes and get it. I mean, that's kind of what you do, but outside the door, you know? But okay. The new cans. Got it. She snuck out of her apartment to the trash cans in the middle of the night once or twice a month to get rid of some of the mess. Otherwise, she kept all her windows covered and never left the house. Mood. It had been like that for the 3 years she had lived here. Another day, another week, another year. Hello, Messiah. Welcome. New story today. Growing lilies. We have the author right there. Say hi. Be nice. We just started, so you barely missed anything. She has a lot of cans. And I now know how she does her trash and collects her cans. It's very important to me. Another day, another week. Yeah. And hello, not welcome. Welcome. Another day, another week, another year. It didn't matter. It was all the same as the rest of the world passed her by. She had stopped caring. Well, that wasn't quite true. It was more like pain had long since given way to aching depression and then numbness. This was how things were, and so she could either live with it or not. Great thoughts to start the morning. Lily rose. Sitting in a pale. Oh, it starts. It's mailed. F. Sitting in a pile of cans wasn't more important than anything else she was going to do today, but it was certainly less comfortable. She stumbled her way through the mess and into her kitchen to gather breakfast. Breakfast being a Rockstar energy drink, a bowl of cereal, and a slice of pizza she'd accidentally left out all night. She put the rest of the pie in the fridge at least. Who said she couldn't be productive? Thank you for coming! And hope you're not too cooked. Enjoy. It will be over soon. Sitting down to eat, she set up YouTube to autoplay. It didn't matter what was on. She just needed something to fill the silence. Or the little gremlin that lived in the back of her brain would start spinning up even more negative thoughts. Me. If the author is here, can I request to put in the novel every variation of the word kite? No! You may not. No! Stop! Why? I was just going to ask if the cans with energy drinks Rockstar goes hard. I've never had a Rockstar. I had Monster. I had Monster, and then I had a bit of Red Bull. And then we have a Swedish one called like Power King. I think it's Swedish. Never had Rockstar. Never seen Rockstar even. I've heard about it. Kite in and kite out. Wow. The rest of them suck. Good to know. YouTube autoplay. Energy drinks. As the intro to some documentary about the 3 major power grids in the United States was playing, though, Her phone started blaring an alarm from the other side of the room. Lily put down her food and groaned, but got up to shut it off. Why had she set an alarm anyways? She couldn't even remember. As she picked up the phone and looked at it though, she was surprised. She definitely didn't remember setting this one. 10:07 a.m. Better get moving! And a little heart. She shut it off. How strange. She never really used her phone unless she had to. It was a device mostly for communicating with the outside world after all, and Lily had done everything she could to sever that connection. Hello someone! Welcome! New novel today! Again. Since we finished Cleo's yesterday. This is Growing Lilies. We have the author in the chat as well. I hope you enjoy. This is still the first chapter. We barely got it any. What we're reading. It's called Growing Lilies. And it's nice. It's a agoraphobic person called Lily. And she has a strange alarm on her phone and she likes Rockstar energy drinks. And she's also depressed. Her phone was a glorified device for receiving one-time PIN codes from online services, and very rarely making mandatory calls when somehow the outside world managed to touch her. Usually while drinking a little to calm her nerves. Even the sound of a stranger over the phone was enough to start her down the road to a panic attack. She sounds like you for real. Gremlin was mentioned. She sounds like you for real. Please. No, I didn't choose this novel because I could feel some... I'm not agoraphobic. Actually, I don't drink energy drinks anymore. It was a long time ago. But yes. Depressed gremlin girl mess. Okay, well... Maybe. No self-inserting. Sorry. This is totally a legit author. This isn't my ghostwriter, by the way. I promise. Well, whatever. If she was sleepwalking and setting alarms or something, she'd just start turning her phone off. As long as she didn't end up walking into traffic or something, it was fine. Although, even that was probably fine. At least it would be quick. Damn! She shook her head. Okay, it was time to get her mind onto something else. This was unproductive. But just as she sat down again, the alarm went off a second time. Now she was really annoyed. She stood up and stomped over to the phone, ready to turn it off entirely. 10:10 a.m. Look outside, beautiful. Is she getting like ghost alarms? She blinked down at the phone. There's no way she wrote that to herself, even in her sleep. She'd never talked to herself like that. She almost laughed at that bitterly, but it was the truth. What the hell? Her mind raced as she stared at the alarm. Maybe it was a very weird bug, and she was getting someone else's alarms. No, that didn't really make sense. She glanced up at the window, still covered with her blackout curtains. Was there something out there? Dread filled her. What if she looked outside and there was something terrible? Like what? A childish part of her thought about opening her window and seeing a monster. Or just nothing but blue skies and no outside world. Or she didn't know. No. No, that was stupid. She turned off the alarm and reached for the power button to turn off the phone. But just as she was about to turn it off, the alarm started again. 10:12 a.m. No, really. Look outside. I would be freaked the fuck out if I ever got an alarm. Just like, look outside. Like, no. Okay, now it was talking to her? She turned the alarm off and marched over to the window. She was going to open it, see that there was nothing, and then turn off her stupid phone. She reached the curtains in 2 angry steps and reached for them. but she stopped an inch short and hesitated. Her heart was beating out of her chest. This was so fucking stupid. It was going to be nothing. It had to be nothing. Nothing ever happened to her. Her life was normal, day in and day out. A festering pit of despair, but a festering pit of despair that never ever changed. She swallowed her fear and drew back the curtain. A perfectly normal day was outside. Blue skies, buildings, birds. She breathed a sigh of relief, and the tension melted off her. Then she saw the smoke. Actually, wait. Not just one plume of smoke. 3. 3 plumes of smoke from different parts of the city. She was on the 3rd floor, and her apartment was on high ground, so she could see quite a ways. There were 3 fires? She wouldn't have bat an eye at 1 if it wasn't too close, but 3? That just didn't make sense. Wasn't someone doing something? Was this some kind of attack? She stared and her heart sank. Wait, that's not all. The roads were empty. The courtyard below her window had no people. No cars were moving. Apart from the fires, she might as well have been looking at a painting. There was a clattering sound as her phone dropped from her hand onto the floor, but she could hardly hear it. A dull ringing was starting to fill her head, and her vision was getting a little dark around the edges. She was feeling faint. 3. Is she schizo? 3 fires and no sirens. Damn right. No sirens. Everything is fine. I'm still like, what about the ghost phone? It's like, okay, so the city has been bombed or some shit. Like, there's, okay, the apocalypse is starting. But what's about the ghost phone? Why is the phone sentient? This couldn't be right. It couldn't be. But as she looked everywhere she could see, there was no one. On a day like today, she should have been able to see people in the windows of other apartments, cars on the road, people in the courtyard, even a plane in the sky, anything. But there was no one. The meth chimps are rampaging. Yeah, we already brought up the meth chimps. It's like, oh my god, no! They've taken over the city. She reached back down and grabbed her phone in a stupor. She was feeling dizzy, and her thoughts were muddled. But there was fire and no one was doing anything. She tried to unlock it, but it wasn't working. She didn't know what she was getting wrong, but decided to just call 911 without unlocking it when she remembered phones could do that. She dialed the number. As it started to ring, dread filled her. What was she going to say? Okay, just fire. Say there's fire. 3 fires. Mention not seeing anyone, and then hang up. They could track the location. It would be fine. Small priorities. Crabs going down outside or the phone. Wait, wasn't it ringing for a long time for an emergency number? Her heart sank. What if no one picked up? She realized she was hyperventilating and tried to breathe slowly and carefully. That was a crazy thought. More likely they were getting flooded with calls about this, right? But as it continued to ring, a cold certainty filled her. No one was going to pick up. She ended the call. She couldn't listen to the ringing anymore. What do I do? The trembling in her voice was what finally pushed her over the edge. Okay. Well, I'm interested. And I still want to know about the phone. I understand that I should be focusing on the... Okay, so there's 3 fires. There's no people. But I'm like, dude, the phone can talk to her. Obviously, I need to know what's happening. Good start. I'm intrigued. Okay. Very intrigued. She is the phone. Her mind has warped with the phone. But who was phone? Right? Who is the phone? Well, then this should be chapter 1 then. Yeah. It'll be 2. Yeah. Phone was the messages we made along the way. Chapter 1. A few seconds later, a girl started awake. She was laying on the floor in front of her window. For a moment, a magical moment, she thought she must have dreamed the events leading up to this. She tried to sit up but felt dizzy and a little sick to her stomach. Having fainted before, she knew what she needed to do. So she lay on her back and elevated her feet, resting them on the windowsill. 10:53. Get the fuck out. It's an AI assistant. ChatGPT is like, look outside of the window. It's a beautiful day. Oh my god. If I was getting AI alarms, I would just throw my phone out the window. Forced to lie still for now, she took some deep breaths. Something was very wrong outside. Maybe everyone had evacuated and not known she was in here. Maybe it was the rapture, and she was just the only person who sucked. Maybe it was a zombie apocalypse. With invisible zombies? Okay, that one seemed unlikely, but all of the answers seemed unlikely. A resolute calm filled her mind. She needed to find out what was going on, and what if anything she needed to do. Huh? Oh, and what if anything she needed to do? Right. I was like, huh? Okay, F. I will just make the AI lazy with me. We both will wake up late. She needed to find out what was going on, and what, if anything, she needed to do. First, deep breaths. In and out. In and out. She knew she was feeling a little better when the next one was a yawn. So she sat up. Still a little shaky, but nothing she couldn't handle. The curtain still open caught her eye, and she looked up to see a cloud slowly crossing her tiny view of blue sky from this angle. Huh, pretty. Pretty cloud. She often forgot how beautiful something as simple as the sky could be. The world outside this room sometimes felt like an alien landscape when she looked at it. A place so unfamiliar on an emotional level that it was upsetting to behold. But other times, she'd catch a glimpse like this, at a time when her normal fears weren't at the forefront of her mind, and just be caught by the beauty of the world. But then, bitterness. It was a world that wasn't hers. So she rose. Glancing out at the window to make sure that things were still the same, she found her way to her desk and sat down. First things first. She opened the internet and checked the news. The fact that the internet was working gave her a little bit of hope, but as she scrolled down today's news articles, she found herself increasingly perplexed. Her brow furrowed, and she could feel the confused look on her face. There were news articles for today, but not one of them was talking about anything like this. Just the normal news she'd expect. Maybe she was panicking about nothing? So she continued on to social media, determined to find people talking about this. She searched for posts containing the name of her city and sorting by latest, and nothing. Nothing suspicious anyway. Scrolling through the posts, all that showed up was people talking about local events and so on. Then she paused and scrolled back to the top. This wasn't right. 9:15 a.m. At Sena Del Mar Police. Our dedicated officers are here to ensure the safety of Sena Del Mar residents and visitors. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or concerns. #community safety. 8:30 a.m. at Beecher Size. Rise and shine, Santa Del Mar. Another beautiful day awaits. Explore the scenic beaches and don't forget to tag me in your photos. Meeting down by the beach at 10:30. Hashtag Santa Del Mar Adventures. Hashtag exercise. Hashtag fitness. Right. Tag me in your photos. Oh shit, okay, I love these. 2:58 a.m. at Beach Bum Sarah. Good vibes and crashing waves and hashtag Santa Del Mar tonight. The ocean is alive with moonlight. Hashtag beach life. Hashtag nightlife. I love it. 2:54 a.m. at Foodie Adventures. Just had the best seafood tacos at the Santa Del Mar Pier. Fresh catch of the day. Hashtag foodie finds. Hashtag Santa Del Mar eats. So real it hurts, right? 2:53 a.m. at Music in Paradise. Live music at Santa Del Mar's famous beachside bar. Seaside Serenade tonight. Come groove to the tunes and enjoy the sea breeze. Hashtag live music. Hashtag Santa Del Mar nights. The timestamps were abnormal to say the least. As she scrolled down, there were posts almost every 5 minutes before 3 a.m. But after that, only in the morning, and at suspiciously perfect times. Wait, were these scheduled posts? Her stomach sank. Well, maybe it was still nothing, right? She decided to post a reply to the police. 10:54 a.m. at Girl Badge. Girl Badge? Sorry to bother you. Oh. But if anyone is monitoring this account, could you please respond? I can't get through to 911 and I can't see fires in the distance. I don't see anyone outside. Please help. Oh. Like garbage, but girl. Oh, girl bitch. Girl bitch. Oh. No. And I love that she does the sorry to bother you. Imagine calling 911 and then be like, okay, I'm so sorry, but I'm dying. I'm sorry that I'm bothering you with this. Can you please help? Oh no. Somehow, writing a plea for help really made the situation seem more dire. Wait, if those are just the posts for her area, why is she so like you? I know. They say right what you know. I relate. I can relate. Maybe not to this extent, but I would still be like, oh, no, I don't want to be in the way. I'm Swedish after all. Please. She frantically started a new search, looking for latest posts with no other criteria. It was the same result. Scattered posts that looked like they could be scheduled, followed by normal posting, all before 3 a.m. Suddenly, she felt very, very small. The sound of her hyperventilating filled the room. She couldn't think. She couldn't think. She couldn't think! Panic began to take hold again. Jumping up from her computer, she did the unthinkable. She ran to her front door, wrenched it open, and went outside. Oh my god, touching grass! What is 911 in Germany? 112. It's the same in Sweden. 112 your mom. It felt very smooth, yes. It's 112. That's I fucked up when I read it earlier. I was like one, and I was like, nope, 911. It's that's the America. We have the 112. Blah, blah, blah. Went outside. Touch grass. A scrambling mad dashed down the stairs on the outside of her apartment building. She stumbled upon hitting the ground floor, leaving a bloody gash on one knee, but stood up and ran into the center of the courtyard. Hello? Is there anyone here? Please, I need help. Please, someone respond. Anyone. Can anyone at all hear me? Oh, and then there's no one. The superior numbers. Hell yeah, 112. Fun fact, in Europe, the emergency number is 112, but because some people from America dial 911, it automatically takes them to 112. Really? In Germany is 110. No. I've called ambulance in Germany. Maybe it's just the ambulance then. I know I called 112. I was told by a German that it was 112. For you who don't know, I'm Swedish. I'm from Sweden, but I live in Germany and speak English, but on stream. I haven't been there in 10 years, so I don't know. It would be weird if they changed. I mean, I could be wrong. It would be weird to change the emergency number, wouldn't it? Maybe they did. Who knows? I just know that it's like I've only called twice. Only. I've only lived here for in May it was a year. But then I was told that it was 112. But I don't I just know what I've been told. I have no idea. I'm not a native German. I can also be wrong. But it worked. But then it could be the same. That it's like, oh, if you call 911, then it will also get you to the emergency feed. Either way, hello. Hello! Romaine! Ah! hello. We're neighbors now. 112 is like the overall emergency. Then there's sorry on 999. I was like, that's a long number. 998, 987 for specific ones like police, fire department, or ambulance. At least there is in Poland. I think there's stuff like that as well. I think there's in Sweden, but I've never really had the need to. I was like, call 112, and then you just say, I need an ambulance. They're like, okay, and then we'll just do it for you. So, but yeah, there is probably more. I don't know. I have no knowledge about this. I only have the knowledge I have. But there is a number anyway. But it was cool. I didn't know that it would direct you if you did 911 and it would direct you correct. That's funny. And very handy. Very nice. Okay, screaming, yelling, please someone help me. Only silence answered her cries. She stood in what should have been the center of a bustling courtyard, and a stone-cold certainty overtook her. There was no one to hear her. She doubled over and promptly vomited. The echoed sounds of her emptying her stomach filled the courtyard, as if to emphasize how very quiet everything was. Imagine you're vomiting, just echoing. Echoing vomiting. No! She rolled over on her back when she was done, laying still and looking at the sky. Whenever she was outside, she got scared looking up into the sky. The deep blue abyss made her feel like she was barely clinging to the ground, and at any moment could fall into that vast expanse of nothing. It made her uneasy on a good day. But today's... okay. But today, somehow, it didn't seem that bad. Oh. In a small town called San Del Mar, on the coast of California, there is a courtyard. In the center of that courtyard lies a lone figure. A girl, on her back, stares up at the sky. She's been laying there for 33 minutes and 47 seconds. She is 28 years old. Her name is Lily. She has brown, wavy hair, matted from not being cared for. Stop making me relate to this character. I hate this. Soft. Too late. Why is it me? I'm 28 in June as well. This is unfair. Why is this a thing? Okay. Fuck. I care for. Her pale skin is dotted with freckles. Check. Thick glasses sit in her face in front of her emerald eyes. threatening to dangerously magnify the sun shining down on her. She's 5 foot 10 inches tall and a little overweight due to her sedentary lifestyle. She's wearing a ratty old mismatched set of pajamas and has neglected to put on shoes before running out of her house. What is 5'10"? What is 5 foot 10 in centimeters? I'll use the model. What is 5'10"? Oops, I accidentally pressed the fucking stream. I can't. I hate the fucking Twitch chat thingy on the phone. Almost. Unlikely since Volume 2 is almost out. 155. Hello, Paladin. Also, can I not? I hate this. Okay, wait, if I do this. Sorry, whenever I press on my fucking, since it, you know, I have the Twitch chat on my phone and it just starts another fucking stream because it's trash. Okay. 177, about 177, 155. Oh, what? It's 177. Okay, well, whew, then we're safe. We're safe. I'm not even close. She's tall, right? She's tall. Crazy. I am 158. So I didn't make it. Well then, I do have glasses though. Trying to get some more sun on me, otherwise it's pale. Ah, okay. Blah, blah, blah. What novel is this, by the way? This is Growing Lilies, and we have the author right there above you in chat. Growing Lilies that I found. This is chapter 2, but technically it's chapter 1 because we started with chapter 0, so this is chapter 1. But it's very nice. It's about a depressed, agoraphobic girl, and her phone is sentient somehow, I guess, at least when it comes to alarms. And there is 3 fires outside and no people. And apparently it's about me. Oh. Okay. No shoes. She has a bloody gash on one knee that is starting to hurt more as she comes back slowly to reality, and is currently laying dangerously close to a pile of her own vomit. Oh no. Oh, and she thinks that she might be the last living human in the world. Damn. Studied her for a long time. Yeah. I pay very close attention. No. Spare me. Imagine that being true though. Not now. Okay, wait. Hold on. The height is just a legal distinction. Too small, can't sue for impersonation. Oh, I got, yeah, true. We have real experts. Imagine being the reference for a character though. That's pretty cool. Beans. I've never seen that. Beans. Congratulations to the 2 married beans. She doesn't know her true height. Okay, but so I assume that there is someone watching her, or if this is more of a, you know, like a narrator type of thing, or there is someone watching her. We'll see. I would assume it's someone watching her, but who knows? Chapter 2. What finally got her moving was the smell of smoke in the air. She had been blankly staring up at the sky for quite some time, when the slight scent startled her out of her shock. Right, the fires, she mumbled to herself. Well, better get moving. She cut off. In a flash, she remembered the cell phone alarms from earlier. Those alarm titles. She hadn't left those alarms for herself after all. There's no way she would have known what was going to happen like this. She sat up abruptly, wincing at the pain in her knee. As she stood up, she noted the smoke in the sky. There were now 5 large billows of smoke around the city, and they looked bigger. 5? There were 3 before. The closest one loomed ominously, appearing much closer than before. Lily cursed and headed back towards her apartment. Okay, the plan. She needed a plan. What was her plan? Well, obviously she had to leave her apartment. She didn't want to know what would happen to her if the fire reached her apartment complex before she had a chance to leave. What a way to go. Survive the apocalypse only to get taken out by a fire I saw coming hours before. Well, it'd be fitting enough, dying like I've lived, in my apartment and refusing to leave. She shook her head to clear away that depressing thought. No, absolutely not. She was going to get some of her things together, see if she couldn't break into her phone and find a safe place to wait out the fire. Where even is safe from a fire? Outside the city? Yeah, in the forests of California, historically the safest place to get away from raging fires. She rolled her eyes at her own stupid thoughts. Okay, so not there. But if not there, where? Sewers, maybe? Instantly, she rejected the idea as the visceral mental image of her roasting alive in a puddle of slime and gross crossed her mind. She shook her head again and found herself at the stairs. Oh, god damn it! I'm such a fucking screw-up! She shouted as she looked up the stairs and realized how much of a pain it was going to be to climb the 53 stairs to her floor with her knees so screwed up. But she started up, step by step. It was agonizing, even taking it slow. She cursed her clumsiness with every single movement, but she was making progress, and before long she sat panting and clutching her leg at the top of the steps. She looked out at the fire, not significantly closer than before. How do you even go about stopping this, right? You can't. After catching her breath, she stood and hobbled into her apartment again. It was, unsurprisingly, exactly how she had left it. She was careful not to close the front door behind her, feeling strangely like sealing it back up would somehow prevent her from leaving again. With a heavy sigh, she approached her desk and sat back at the computer. Unable to think of something else to do, she opened her homepage and ran a search. Survival items from around the house. Hell yeah. I would immediately ask ChatGPT, help! What do I need? Co-op the fire truck, baby, but you'd have to know how to use it. Right? Leave. She has to leave. That's step 1. Well, no, step 1 is gather supplies, then leave. Oh no, Lily! No ChatGPT for you. No! Not satisfied with those results, she tried again. Build an emergency kit. This was a little better, but it was always the same items. Batteries, flashlights, candles, non-perishable food. I suppose humans don't really need much more than food, water, warmth, and light, huh? She said to the empty room. Glancing out the window to make sure the fire wasn't sneaking up on her, she got packing. Bags of chips, her phone, her cereal, her energy drinks, cans of soup she hadn't touched in years, microwave ramen, her blankets, her phone, a couple books, several bottles of water, a loose knife, band-aids, and some over-the-counter painkillers. She looked over her packed items and almost decided she was ready. Then she had a realization. Oh fuck. Clothes that aren't pajamas. Yeah, clothes is nice. She dug around in her drawers, but only a few of the items she had even fit her now. She tossed on a loose pair of jeans and a dress over them. It looked absolutely stupid, but they fit and wouldn't be too hard to move in. As she passed by the bathroom on the way out, she caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror and stopped. She never liked looking at her reflection, but this time she actually laughed out loud for a second. Seeing herself all dressed up like this, for such an absurd reason, it was almost comical. It took all the stress out of seeing herself. She giggled to herself and did a small twirl. Look, everyone, it's the most beautiful girl in the world. At that, she couldn't hold it in anymore and just laughed, and laughed, and laughed. Then she sobbed. And the laughter turned into tears in an instant. Oh, relate. This is the hardest relate. I can't. Holy shit. Hello, Caleb. Welcome. What novel? This is Growing Lilies. Growing Lilies by Violet, which we have in the Twitch chat. Oh, she started sobbing. Cute. I hope you get better. We're here for you. Lily sank down onto her knees on her bathroom floor, the echoes of her sobs still sounding a little like laughter in the empty bathroom. But now it sounded mocking, and only highlighted how she was feeling. So she tried to speak to herself. I can't do this. I ruin everything I touch. I fail at everything I do. I'm scared. I think, am I going to die? Someone, please help me. At that, the tears redoubled, and she lay down again. It took a few minutes for the tears to start to clear, but she knew she had to keep going. Letting herself cry for a minute was fine, but if she stayed here forever, the fire would eventually reach her. So even though the tears still dripped down her face, she got up and started moving again. She grabbed her bags and headed down to the courtyard again. Thankfully, going down the stairs was significantly easier than climbing them. Upon getting down to the ground floor, though, she had a new realization. Well, shit. Now what? She said out loud. Her voice echoed off the far wall, as if driving her solitude in on purpose. When she used to leave her room, she had a car of her own, but she hadn't had one in years. Sure, she could drive, and in this situation it felt entirely ethical to take whatever car she needed. In fact, she'd planned on it. To steal a car. But now that she was standing here, eyeing the parking lot nearby, she was suddenly frozen. How exactly was she supposed to take one of these cars? She didn't know where any of the keys were. She didn't even know which car belonged to which apartment. So even if she broke into an apartment and found keys, she'd have to try every single car to find one that would work. Oh. This is interesting. Paladin asked, what the type of research? All sort of things, but most notable for this section of the story was like I had a process. When Lily found encounter a new issue, I would write my first 3 ideas for how to solve it down, then do research to figure out which one would work. Then I'd make sure she tried unsuccessful ones anyway. That's cool. That's nice. You do 3 and then you're like, okay, which one is actually possible? At least she can drive, not a full girl failure. I can't drive. No. I'm a failure. Keys. The fire was moving slow enough. She might be able to just travel away from it and find a car in another parking lot or something. But some part of her told her that she would have better luck here. Home field advantage or something, right? Sports. She knew nothing about sports. She stared at the parking lot, looking at each car and trying to remember if she could match any of them to an apartment. But the truth was, she didn't even know what her direct neighbors looked like, much less their cars. She was just about to give up and start walking when she found her answer. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. I just need to go to some suburb and get one from a house. The car outside a house would definitely match the house. Then she'd just have to find the keys. The closest houses were just behind the apartment complex, but she hadn't thought of the little suburban area because her apartments faced the opposite direction. She hadn't seen it in years, not since she'd moved in. I love that she's like, oh, I can just break into a house. That's simple. But it's like, she doesn't seem to be scared that there is like, that everyone just died. It's more like everything just poofed into thin air, you know? I would be like there would be dead people inside. I'm like, I'm not going in there. Like, what the fuck? No. I would like after a while if I found out more like, okay, so are there like corpses everywhere? Like, I would be terrified. Right. I know she hasn't seen any bodies yet, right? But it's like, I don't know. Like, die by fire then. There's a quick time event when you get in the car, right? You don't need the keys. Mm, I wonder if there are bodies or if they just poofed. Because it seems like everyone just poofed. Otherwise, there would be bodies outside. You know, like there's no way that everyone was inside. So everyone just went somewhere, I guess. Or did she go somewhere? Why is her phone so silent? Dun dun dun. Okay. House. Hobbling as fast as she could, and cursing herself for getting hurt during an emergency with every single step she made her way around the back. Wait. That was way too fast. F. Hobbling as fast as she could, and cursing herself for getting hurt during an emergency. With every single step she made her way around. What? Wait. And cursing herself for getting hurt during the emergency. With every single step, she made her way around the back of the complex. There. Okay. That's how you do it. Probably. Hobbling as fast as she could, and cursing herself for getting hurt during an emergency with every single step, she made her way around the back of the complex. Thankfully, she had remembered correctly, and there was a quaint little suburban area leading out of the complex and into a block of houses. Okay, so now I just have to break into one. Choose a house and break into it, like a thief. I can do that. She can? She paused. On an intellectual level, she had some ideas of how to break into a house, but her body didn't want to move. She'd always been a stickler for following the rules, and confronted with the reality of entering a stranger's home without permission, she was suddenly unsure of herself. How do I choose? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo? Idiotic. Well, which house would be easiest to break into? Physically, one with big windows, maybe. What about emotionally? Then she thought she had it. It was so simple. She would just go door to door until she found one that wasn't locked. That felt somehow less intrusive than breaking and entering. It was just entering. Right? Right. So she started down the street. The first house was locked. So was the second. The third didn't have a car in front of it, but the fourth opened right up. The second the door came open with a creak, Lily realized she'd made a huge mistake. For a second, she only heard the sound of movement from within the darkened hall leading away from the front door, when suddenly a dog rounded the corner and immediately started snarling and barking. Doggy! It wasn't a huge dog. It must have been a beagle, or a basset hound or something mixed. One of those low to the ground dogs with the oversized skin and large brown spots. But the dog was angry. Hello, Saturn. What's up? We are reading Growing Lilies, just like Violet said. The author. We are in the third chapter, I think. It's very nice so far. It's every human seems to be gone, and Lily is has agoraphobia, and now she's out in the world trying to steal a car to go away from fires because there's huge fires. And she's like, "Oh shit, I have to go outside." And now she's outside, and now she has to find a car to steal. And now she found a dog. Let's go! Fifth. No pepperoni. Right, to survive. Cereal, maybe he likes Rockstar. Dog companion! Yes, dog companion, let's go. Well, probably scared and angry, but now wasn't the time for empathy. Small or not, it would still hurt to get bit, and she was an intruder, and she couldn't afford another injury right now. With a yelp, Lily dodged away from the door as the dog shot from the home like a missile, circling around the back of her and continuing to bark loudly. Before she knew it, Lily was running into the house and shutting the door behind her to get away from the dog. The door shut with a click. She could still hear the dog outside, barking loudly and pawing at the front door, trying to get in to defend its home. Lucky it barked instead of going straight for my ankles with those teeth. She took a deep breath. Well, she could worry about getting out after she found some keys. "Hello?" she called out. Pretty sure she wouldn't get an answer, but feeling uncomfortable not announcing herself in someone's home. "Please pardon the intrusion. I'm coming in." With that, she did her best to absolve herself mentally of what she was about to do. One deep breath, and then exploration began. It was strange going through someone's home while they weren't present. Lily could almost feel the presence of the people who had lived here. There were pictures of them hung on the walls. Two husbands raising what seemed like an adopted son. At least she didn't bear much resemblance to either of the parents. They looked happy. But now wasn't the time to dwell on that. To the left of the hallway was a kitchen. To the right, a living space and what appeared to be a door that likely led to a bedroom. So Lily chose the kitchen first. She opened all the top drawers, thinking that there might be extra keys in a junk drawer or the like, and found them. Immaculate. Not to judge, but what kind of family doesn't have a junk drawer? Every house I've ever been in till now has a junk drawer. Where do they put all their things they don't go anywhere else? She mused out loud to herself. Somehow it just felt better to speak out loud. It's not something she did often in her own home, but right now it was helping her feel less alone. Plus, if she was home, she'd probably be listening to something on her headphones. Next stop was the pantry to see if they had anything non-perishable she could take. For survival, of course. Of course. She wasn't a thief. When all of this was over and everyone had reappeared or whatever, she'd come back and apologize. Yeah, that's a good way to think of it. So she opened the pantry. Not a whole lot jumped out at her. Spaghetti noodles. Well, it's not like she's certain to have a place to cook them soon. Bread wouldn't stay very good. She already had a number of canned goods. Then she spotted a small box of assorted Hostess goods and decided to grab that. Sugar. She was definitely going to need some non-perishable sweets over the next few days. Taking a minute to stuff the treats into her luggage, she went back to her search. If not the kitchen, then where? I now just because of that I thought of sugar and sweets, and I was like, oh, she's gonna get her period. It's gonna be annoying. And I was like, she didn't bring any pads. Fuck this, dude. I will not be able to handle this shit. I'm like, no, no. Backtracking, she approached the living area. Unfortunately, there was obviously nothing of note here. Electronics wouldn't be useful while making an escape. There was a phone on the coffee table, but it was locked. Stupid locks. She was starting to realize that this was going to be a consistent problem when it came to getting access to data she wanted. Funny thing you mentioned that, I told Vi literally the same thing after a while. Seriously? Because that was, as fast as I saw sweets, it was like, oh, she's gonna need it. Then I immediately thought of periods. And I was like, This is gonna be annoying. Data she wanted. Wait, didn't people normally leave going out stuff like right next to the door? She peered into the hallway she'd entered from. Sure enough, on a little hook next to the door, just above head level, was a set of keys. She put her hand over her face, feeling a small blush rising. Ugh, I was so scared of the stupid dog I didn't even check. She stomped back to the front door and grabbed the keys off the hook. A little black dongle hung on the chain with the buttons to unlock the car, pop the trunk, and so on. So she pressed the unlock button. Outside, she heard the beep of the car unlocking. The dog instantly started barking louder. Now what? She stood facing the door. Obviously, she needed to get herself and her things into the car. Also, there was a dog. It wasn't a big dog, and she could probably take it in a fight if it came to it. But she didn't want to hurt a dog, especially this nice-looking family's pet dog. She couldn't just brain the thing and run, right? Brain! She wished she could see how close the fire was from here. Damn. She didn't think anything. She didn't think anything. What? No. She didn't think opening the door and taking some time to make friends with the dog was going to work at this point. But she needed to escape. Survival was on the line. Deep breaths. Form a plan. Kicking the dog was nearly out of the question. Don't kick the dog. She wasn't sure she could, even if the alternative was getting bit. Maybe she could swap places with it again by letting it in and running past. Then what? The dog starves to death in this house over the next few days, or burns alive in the fire? How is that better? No. The dog has to stay outside, so the poor thing has a fighting chance. She redoubled her efforts to focus. I just have to get into the car without the dog biting me, with my supplies. Easy, right? So she sat down and created a plan. I was thinking the same. Then it seems like animals exist and that humans poofed. We haven't seen it. Maybe it's just dogs. Maybe it's just this one dog. Just like it's just this one human. So, 10 minutes later, she found herself standing in front of the door, suited up. Lily braced herself and opened the door, rushing out into the sunlight. The dog instantly took notice, running around from the side of the house and chasing her down. It was a foot race, but Lily was at a distinct disadvantage, having half as many feet. Halfway to the car, 3/4. She might actually outrun the dog. It was a short distance and she had a huge head start. Reaching the car with the keys in her hands, she fumbled to get them inserted into the keyhole. When it happened, chomp! She felt the dog's teeth bite down, and suddenly it was twisting and trying to pull her leg out from under her. Lily let out a scream, but it was just a scream of terror. There was no pain. There was no pain? The dog's teeth had sunk directly into the pillow she had duct taped around her leg. Oh my god! There was still a bit of a crushing, squeezing discomfort, but the pillow had stopped the worst of it. Gathering herself, she continued fumbling with the keys desperately, when suddenly she realized she had already unlocked the door remotely. Cursing herself, she flung the door open and threw her rolling suitcase into the passenger seat. Carefully, making sure she didn't drop the keys outside, she got into the driver's seat. It was awkward and difficult with her bulky leg padding, but she managed. She had to practically scrape the dog off of her leg with her other foot to keep it outside the car. But then she was sitting in the car alone. Oh god, that was awful. Her breathless voice filled the car. Please have gas. I'll cry if you don't have gas. Lily pushed the button that starts the car. How modern. And it roared to life. She half screamed, half shouted for joy. Looking immediately to the dashboard. Full tank, of course. These people with no junk drawer would have a full tank. Stupid Mr. and Mr. and Mr. Perfect with their stupid protective and probably super sweet dog. Oh no, the dog. Taking a quick look around at her surroundings, Lily easily spotted the fire. It had gotten significantly closer. He must be licking at the very edges of her apartment complex already. I hope it stops before burning my place down. She let out a heavy breath and flipped the car into reverse. No sense in getting closer to the fire, I think. If there were emergency teams working on it, it probably wouldn't be spreading so quickly. It was time to get some distance. So, decided. She backed the car out of the driveway, careful to make sure she didn't run over the dog. Oh, imagine! Oh, that would have been insane. She does all this and then she runs over the dog. No. Oh, pulling into the street, she hit the gas and pulled away. The dog chased her for half a block, barking its head off before it stopped and turned around. She was thankful for that. Hopefully it will run from the fire. She wasn't sure where she was going, but for now, away from the fire was probably enough. That's a start. Pace and real mistake. No. As a person with multiple dogs, I couldn't bring myself to seriously hurt a dog. Right. It's like, oh. Having worked with dogs for as long as I have, I'm like, I can't. Like, they're so cute. They're so precious. We don't deserve dogs. Some dogs. There are different dogs. But it's like, it's not the dog's fault. And cats as well. Yeah. Animals in general. Can't hurt them. Too cute. Too precious. The pit bull named Princess begs to differ. There are nice pit bulls. It's 90% of the time. Or 99% of the time. The human's fault and not the dog. But okay. Chapter 3. Lily didn't exactly know her way around, so she simply drove. Through the suburbs, the streets were almost entirely empty, but by the time she got onto the freeway, there were occasionally other cars around. All of them were empty, of course. Most of them seemed to have drifted off the side of the road and stopped, but a few were still in the street. A couple of them were still running, but presumably would be running out of gas in the next few hours. One car was just a still smoldering shell. Lily stopped to examine it. It seemed like it had run into the barrier along the side of the road and ignited. Fortunately, it hadn't spread. Is this what started the other fires? What the hell happened? Yeah, of course, because if a person in a car is driving and then they just poof, I mean, the car would keep going for a little while. That explains fires. And other things that people just stop doing, it would be fires. Hello, Gilbert. Hello, I just got here. Is this good novel? This is good novel. This is Growing Lilies by Violet, who's in Twitch chat right now. We're on chapter 3, but it's the 4th chapter because we started 0. It's about Lillian, agoraphobic, and every human seems to just have poofed away and now she's escaping because there's fires. Glad it was 3 a.m. since the roads would be completely blocked, right? Great, haven't read this one yet. Me neither. Obviously. But it's a nice read so far. I like. It's my taste. Mm. This is sort of what the hell happened? Is this what started the other fires? What the hell happened? Somehow, vocalizing her thoughts helped her feel less alone. But the mystery was real. What had happened? Judging by the post earlier and the amount of cars on the road, it happened around 3 a.m. In some ways, that was lucky. If it happened at noon, she'd probably need a motorcycle to use the roads, and she didn't really know how to drive one. Probably a good idea to learn, but not right now. Right now, she had other priorities. Like, what? She paused to think. There was no active fire spreading near her, so it was as good a time as any. Although it felt strange being stopped in the middle of the freeway. So she got in the car and pulled it off to the side of the road, then climbed on top of it to sit and think. Well, you're not going to say it's bad while the other is watching, haha. Well, I don't think it's bad. It's genuine. It's genuine, I promise. I promise. I'm very glad to hear that I really put my heart and soul into it. Yay! I can tell that you care. By her taste, small means that the MC is literally her. It's the best when you can relate with MC. I can. I can. Well, you're not gonna say it's bad while the other. Oh, it's the same thing. But what I do have to say is that I have to fucking piss. I can't. I'm drinking too much water. Okay? But I will be right back. Use 2 seconds. Be right back. I'm back. It hurts to get into my chair. Fuck. Before the stream, I did my walk and then I did some circuit training, and I'm like, oh, my stomach, I can't. I hate this so much. But it will be worth it. Huh? Yes. Because I use muscles to get my legs up into the chair, and I'm like, I don't want to use my stomach anymore, please. I die. Okay. Motorcycle. Learning to drive motorcycle. But not now. Sit and think, car. What did she need to do? Immediately. Let's see. Order of survival. Remove myself from immediate danger? Check. Remove myself from potential danger? She glanced back at the nearest fire still spreading on the horizon. I need to find a place to settle that's safe from the fires until the fires die down. Is there anything I need to have to wait that out? Fine. Basic survival checklist for 3 days. just in case. Shelter away from the fire, food, water, and something to do so I don't go insane. There, look at me being all responsible. First things first, where do I go? She stopped for a second and just tried to clear her mind of everything but that question. The forest was out. California was notorious for forest fires, and she remembered hearing that they could spread very fast. Was there some kind of fireproof building? Maybe tunnels underground. If a fire passed over a tunnel like that, would it heat up? Could she still breathe? No, she didn't want to find out. She took a deep breath and let it out, and the answer came to her. She could smell the ocean in the air, even through the light smell of smoke. The ocean. It hadn't immediately come to her because she didn't really know how to use a boat, and she'd never owned one before. Fuck no, that wouldn't be one of my first choices. I'm way too scared of the ocean. I'm not going in. I could sit at the beach, but I'm not going in the water. I was also thinking, like, hit a store or something. But maybe she doesn't feel like she needs to at the moment, and maybe she doesn't think she will. Maybe she thinks that she can just come back once the fires are gone. But ownership wasn't really an issue right now, and she knew how boats were supposed to work. On paper. She'd used boats in video games and seen them controlled in videos and things. They had that weird throttle that was like a lever, right? But that's just forward and back in a wheel. It's not like she needed to go far or fast. Just out enough into the water to not choke on the smoke or burn alive. That's doable, right? Okay, a boat. The harbor. I can do this. I'm a good swimmer too. But I won't need to swim. Life vest too. I need a life vest. They usually have those on boats, right? I'll look for a boat with life vests. I need food and water, and something to do for a few days. Then I can find the harbor. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Right? The city of Santa del Mar was small for a city. It was right on the ocean, with a freeway running parallel to the coast through most of the city. It had no particularly tall buildings, but was fairly spread out. It was a tourist destination, so the traffic stopping into the city while passing through would find plenty of overpriced places to stop and eat or buy overpriced souvenirs. The main attraction was of course the beach, but the forest around the city held a number of good hiking spots and little tourist traps as well. It was quiet, somewhat idyllic little city. On a day like this, there should be a mass of people laying out across the beach practically all the way along the shore. The single freeway through the city would be so full it was moving at a snail's pace, and every little shop and restaurant ought to be bustling with activity, conversations, and laughter. The sun was shining, the temperature was lovely, and yet the city was empty, almost silent, apart from the second, almost silent, apart from the sound of the ocean and the few automated devices still making sound. There were only a few sources of activity, and numbers of fires had started, and black smoke was billowing up into the sky in those places. There were a total of 15 already, stemming from kitchens whose occupants happened to vanish while cooking, and unoccupied cars that had crashed and caused chaos. A few of the fires had never gotten particularly large and burned themselves out when they reached roads and other gaps in material they couldn't cross. But 3 of the fires were currently quite large and only spreading faster. The flames engulfed everything in their path, becoming stronger and consuming increasingly quickly. Apart from the destruction brought by the fire, there was one point of activity in the entire city. Coming from the inside of a high-end grocery store, there was a scream. What did she do now? Did she fall? So now at least it seems like the people did just poof. They just went away. They went bye-bye. But why is Lily here? Is this some type of Truman Show type of thing? Truman Show. That's what it's called, right? I'm like, is that what it's called? A rat. Lily saw a rat, so she screamed. Lily pulled up in front of the grocery store. Normally, she'd be too poor to shop here, but there was no reason to grab anything but the best goods available right now. So she'd driven until she'd found an upscale-looking area, and then looked for somewhere that might have what she needed. It hadn't taken that long to find. The parking lot was empty too. Lily assumed that a lot of people had been shopping in the middle of the night, so she parked right up front, in the red zone. She got a small thrill from being so cavalier about rules that she'd otherwise never ever break. Feeling a little giddy, she turned off the car and got out. Then, realizing she didn't have to lock up, she left the door wide open. Damn. But as she walked up to the door, she encountered her first problem. The automatic doors didn't open. Puzzled, Lily took a few steps back and walked up to them again. Huh? She walked back, and then forward a third time. Nothing. For a second, she thought about whether maybe the electricity had stopped working, but that couldn't be it. The lights were on inside. Oh shit. It was closed when shit went down. Lily yelled in frustration. She marched up to the door and tried to wedge her fingers between the two automatic doors and pull them open. But it must have been locked or something, because they didn't budge at all. Good morning, Tag! Break the window, break the window. Good morning, Tag. We are reading a new novel today since we finished Cleo's yesterday. This is Growing Lilies, and we have the author Sel in the chat named Violet. And it's very nice. There she is. Nice. Very nice. I am author. It's about a girl with agoraphobic. It's about an agoraphobic girl. And every human just poofed away. And now she has to survive. Enjoy. Because it didn't budge at all. Well, they were made of glass. How hard could it be to smash in? She looked around for a rock. Finding a nice stone the size of her closed fist, she hefted it up. It had to be at least 5 pounds. Approaching the doors, she stared for a second, feeling guilty for what she was about to do. It's fine. There's no one to get hurt. And besides, I'm the girl who parks where she pleases. I can do this. She threw the stone as hard as she could at the glass door. How do you make this? Thunk. It made a pathetic sounding noise. It clattered to the ground in front of her feet. The door didn't look damaged at all. What the hell? Is this some kind of super glass? What kind of glass doesn't break when you hit it real hard? She huffed, staring at it. For a second, she contemplated grabbing the rock and throwing it again. But an image of it falling back and landing on her foot flashed through her mind, and she decided to do something less dangerous. Glancing around, she saw a trash can nearby. A relieved smile crossed her face as she walked over and reached to grab it. It was stinky, but it looked plenty heavy, and she could just bash until the glass broke, right? She grabbed the trash can and lifted with all her might. It didn't budge. Not at all. She wrenched and pulled and heaved. Nothing. A muscle in her back was starting to hurt, so she stopped pulling. Sitting down out of exhausted frustration, she examined it more closely to see if it was welded down or fused to the rock below. But no, it was just too heavy for her. Way too heavy for her to lift off her head and smash with like she had in mind. Ugh, this sucks. I don't want to try and drive my car through it. I need to be able to get around, and I don't have a backup right now. Gotta add that to my list after the next few days. Lily took a deep breath and looked at the sky. It was strange. All day today, looking at the sky felt kind of comforting. Usually it filled her with a deep unease. But because she had so many other things to be scared of right now, her usual fears weren't activating so much. She laid out on the ground and just stared for a little. I wish I could have felt like this before today. Casually outside. able to stare at the sky with my heart at ease. Maybe today I even could have talked to a stranger. If I felt like this all the time, what could my life have been like? She closed her eyes for a minute and began to think about her current situation. Driving the car through the door was her last resort. But what else could she do? She needed something to smash through the window with. Heavy and blunt wasn't going to work because she couldn't lift something heavy enough. Stupid weak body from years of not going outside, she cursed inwardly. Okay, what might she have in the car? Her suitcase probably wasn't heavy enough, and she didn't want to mess with her stuff. Her cell phone still wasn't letting her unlock it, so she couldn't look up a good solution online. The car might have one of those car window breaker devices for people to escape vehicles with. Lily wasn't sure how those worked, if the car would even have one, and if so, it would work on the glass door. Well, worth considering. What else? Wait, car tools. Isn't the tool used for removing tires that plus shaped... my brain. That plus shaped? Yes, that plus shaped. Isn't the tool used for removing tires that plus shaped metal thing? Couldn't there be one of those? Lily opened her eyes and scrambled to her feet. She walked quickly over to the car and popped the trunk open. At first, when she walked back there and opened it, she was disappointed. It was almost entirely empty. But then she noticed a little pull cord, and upon pulling it, the false bottom opened up, revealing a spare tire, jumper cables, a car lifting device, and a gun. A tire iron! She nearly shouted for joy. Grabbing it up, she ran back to the front doors of the store and took a swing as hard as she could. Thunk. For a second, she was in total dismay. It didn't come crashing down like she had hoped. But there was a dent. A small dent. But a dent. Grinning wickedly, Lily raised her tool of devastation again. Their tool of devastation! Thunk, 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 thunk. The door broke inwards. Not a large enough gap for her to fit through, but from there it was much easier to break it the rest of the way. Once it was clear, she carefully stepped through, making sure not to scratch herself on the presumably sharp edges. And then she saw it. She was in. She saw it. Then she saw it. What did she see? And then she was in. The cool air of the air conditioner was blowing down on her, and a stale song from a 90s boy band was playing in the background. It was perfect. Lily immediately got to work. Grabbing a cart, she entered the store proper. 20 steps in, she froze. Lily was awful at shopping. Anxiety started buzzing at the back of her mind, but usually she was bad at shopping because she was scared of the people that inhabited a grocery store like this. She always felt like she was being judged. True. Like everyone was staring at her with disdain. I've gotten better though. Like she was the biggest piece of garbage and everyone saw it immediately when they looked at her. Like they could see the slimy thing she was, and it was obvious to everyone. And she didn't deserve to be here. How could she dare to step into a place meant for normal people? She didn't belong here, and it was only a matter of time until... "Attention shoppers!" the voice called. Lily's scream almost drowned it out. For a horrible moment, everything was terror. She got so scared. The next thing she knew, she had fallen to the floor. She was scrabbling backwards towards the door without really hearing the voice at all or processing what it was saying until... Madness! That's right. Starting in 15 minutes at 4 p.m., there will be a special deal at the opposite. Madness! Wait, is this the thing? Okay, I guess this is a thing. The attention fee. I thought it was her. Madness! That's right. Starting in 15 minutes at 4 p.m., there will be a special deal at the butcher's counter. During Meat Madness, select cuts of your favorite meats will be 50% off, and deli meats will be 25% off. A deal this good is rare to see. Passing on it now would be a huge mistake. So we'll steer you up at the butcher's counter in 15 minutes. Thank you. Lily choked out half of a laugh. and then felt her eyes bubbling over with tears. That had been so scary. I love that every time she laughs, she cries. Such a frail little person. Oh. Oh my god. I would have screamed as well. And laughed and maybe cried. A little bit. Hell yeah. I'm frail. That's normal, right? They say right what you know, right? You know. I might be frail. Chapter 4. It took her a few minutes to regain her composure. An automated message. It had to be an automated message. But hearing someone call out like that really frightened her. On the plus side, it had stopped her imminent mental break by giving her something much, much scarier to focus on. When it felt like her heart wasn't going to explode, and she could see through her watery eyes, she slowly got to her feet. Stupid automatic announcements made by people who, whatever happened to them? She paused for a second at that. It's like I got scared by a ghost. With that thought, she let out a nervous laugh. Or maybe it was a sob. I was gonna say, maybe she cried. It was somewhere in the middle, so she attempted to lighten the mood. Oh, why? Okay. Hey there, ghosts and demons. It's me, your girl Lily. Oh my. She expected to feel a little better after the silly joke, but the way her voice echoed through the aisles just made her feel more unsettled. Okay, enough of that. Get in, get out with all the stuff. That's not too hard, right? It's like an ordinary shopping trip from her nightmares. She hurried into the store proper, heading towards the produce aisle. Her heart started beating faster as she traveled further in, feeling like she did walking down hallways in the dark or to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Like something was following her. When she arrived at the first bin of fruit, she stopped. Everything in her body told her not to turn around. Everything. Wait. This was anxiety. Just anxiety. She forced herself to confront it. She couldn't keep dealing with things like this today. Lily made herself turn around. It was like forcing a stripped screw to turn one more time. But she did it. There was nothing there. She stopped. That's when she had her genuine laugh. This is so stupid. She laughed so hard she could hardly breathe. She doubled over. Running through a grocery store like ghosts were chasing her. It wasn't even dark. There was nothing there. There was no one anywhere. Nothing to chase her. She took a deep breath and steadied herself. Tearing the bag free of the roll with ease, she turned to her actual task. Fruit and vegetables. Those things weren't going to stay good for long at all. Extremely perishable. So she might as well take a bunch. Space in the car wasn't exactly at a premium, and a boat ought to be even larger. So she gathered everything she knew she liked. Oranges and lemons. To stave off scurvy, right? You got that from being at sea, right? Apples, peaches, nectarines, grapefruit slices in water. Grapefruit slices in water. A couple pomegranates, lettuce, tomatoes, potatoes, a 1 pound bag of carrots, a bag of celery, and a coupe de grace. A whole watermelon. Lily briefly let the fantasy wash over her of being on a calm boat under the hot sun, breaking open a watermelon and cooling off by stuffing her face. Then she thought about the backdrop being the view of Senator Lamar burning to the ground and swiftly pushed the thought down. No. She moved on to the next segment of the store. There was a ton of ready sliced sandwich meat and cheese, so she just shoveled a bunch into the cart. Bologna? Check. Honey jam? Yes, please. Pepper turkey? You bet. Every cheese under the sun? Obviously. Looking down at her half-full cart, she made a note to grab bread too. Condiments. She went down the aisle and grabbed everything she could think of, including way too many jars of olives and pickles. Breads, cereals, hot dogs, a half gallon of milk, a cooler, ice, back to a couple gallons of milk, paper and plastic bowls, plates and silverware, bacon, mac and cheese, Pop-Tarts, all of the candy. She was getting overwhelmed fast, having filled 2 full carts of what can only be described as what a child would buy if you let them loose in a grocery store with a black card. But before she knew it, she couldn't think of anything else to grab. She had an extremely mismatched set of things that she had grabbed with no plan at all besides, that looks good. So she stood, staring down at her 2 carts and feeling incompetent. This is all the stuff I can think of that I might want to eat over the next few days. So why does it feel like I've done a bad job? I have food, I have drinks. That was the goal, wasn't it? Am I missing something? Or am I just not used to this? She frowned at the pile of food. It was a ton of food. Somehow it didn't feel like enough. Regardless, even after sitting for a while and thinking about it, she didn't really know what she had gotten wrong, so she couldn't fix it. With a shrug, she pushed the carts towards the entrance. As she was passing the checkout area, she briefly considered leaving a note. A note? To who? So what? If everyone reappears tomorrow, they know who they stole their stuff. Shit. That was so bad. F. So what? If everyone reappears tomorrow, they know who stole their stuff? This is an emergency. I'm not doing anything wrong. It's not stealing. It's survival. Despite what she told herself, the rules of society instilled in her were strong. She felt very, very guilty. But she persevered, pushing her cart loads of food out to the car and loading it all in. She was tired. She hadn't moved around and gotten this much exercise in years, and her body wasn't used to it at all. Already, her muscles felt like limp ropes under her skin, unable to properly move her body around. But there were still a few things left to do. First up, earlier she had spotted a Best Buy right across the street. Feeling much more confident, Lily crossed the street while not even looking both ways. Okay, maybe a glance, but it was out of habit. She pulled straight up to the red zone in front of the store. The red zone again. Threw her car in park and climbed out. It was a lot easier the second time. This is how killers become serial killers, whispered a small alarmist part of Lily's mind. Right? But that was stupid. So she told that part to shut up and continued up to the door, brandishing her glass smasher. This time it only took 3 blows. Yay! For a second, she basked in her feeling of growth. Then she heard the noise. An alarm was going off. Not from her phone. As the glass shattered and fell in, the noise screamed even louder. It was the alarm from the store, and it was blaring. Lily stood, frozen in front of the broken glass. In her heart, she expected squads of cop cars to pull up any second and apprehend her. But of course, no one came. Lily waited until she felt she could move her body again, and then proceeded inside. The alarm was very loud in here. It hurt her ears, but she had things she needed to get. So hoping that she wouldn't end up with some kind of auditory damage, she continued on. The first thing she wanted seemed obvious to her. Gas generator. Long term, if she was going to be in this world. She wanted solar panels and lots of them. But for now, she needed something small to keep her in electricity until she had a better setup. Even if it required siphoning gas, she could probably manage it. She'd never done it before, but she could remember an experiment about how to start a siphon in middle school science class. She'd gotten absolutely drenched because she'd sucked on the hose too hard, and she'd gotten bullied about it for about a week. Oh ho ho, Lily's too good at sucking. Lily can suck my hose. Kids are evil, little brats. But who's laughing now, huh? Wow. Lily was decidedly not laughing. But even though she could barely hear the words around the sound of the alarm, it did make her feel a little better. Generators were a little hard to find. She really had to scour the store before she found a more traditional hardware section towards the back. And there they were. Heavier than she'd like, so she came back with the cart and loaded it in. Lily had no idea how to choose one, so she just grabbed the one with the highest price tag. Forget reading the back. Her ears were hurting bad. From there, she looked for a portable DVD player and felt old when she found out there are all Blu-ray players now. But she grabbed one regardless. There was a whole row of movies across from it, so she just started grabbing one of everything. Terrible looking B movie? Hell yeah. A whole box set of Friends? Why not? What do you mean, why not? That should be the obvious. Some anime she's never heard of? Anything for entertainment in the apocalypse. Once she thought she had one of everything, she found her way to the video game section. For the first time, she encountered a bigger issue. No consoles were out here. They had little paper things you were supposed to take and give to an employee to ring up. And then they'd go in the back and get one for you. And then just head into the bag. Fun fact, most of post-apocalyptic scenarios don't make sense since gasoline goes bad in under a year and becomes basically unusable. Really? I have no experience with gasoline. I didn't know that. You steal a Tesla. Assuming she'd figured that much out, she used her handy-dandy glass annihilator 800 plus, 8,000 plus, to break into the display case housing the games. Figuring something handheld would be the way to go. She grabbed all the Nintendo Switch games that were in the case, carefully making sure to get one of each. Damn. Once satisfied, she turned and looked around to see if she could spot where consoles and things were actually kept. Where were they actually kept anyways? The first thing she spotted was a service desk for the electronics area, so she approached it. Of course, the PC was powered off. And when she started it up, she faced a login screen with the password. Well, better try just in case. She typed admin into the name field and password into the password field. Nothing. Damn, that works a shocking amount of the time, but guess I'm not lucky today. Who would have guessed? So she turned and inspected the rest of the surroundings. Nothing that would be big enough to hold game consoles. But she did find a key ring sitting on the desk, so she pocketed it. She couldn't see anything else from here that looked useful, but she couldn't see very far over the aisles. They weren't that much taller than her, but it was enough to obscure the view. A light bulb went off in her head. Oh, the rules don't matter anymore. Carefully, she climbed up on the service area desk and stood as tall as she could. It really felt like she was doing something wrong, but she'd do anything to get out of this area sooner with everything she needed. So she carefully turned around the desk and got a good look. There it was, a door labeled Employees Only towards the back. That was a good sign, right? She even had keys. Welcome back, Rosavea. Hope class was classy. Hopping down from the desk, she walked with confidence towards her new destination. Then she promptly got a little lost in the aisles. It only took a few minutes to find it though, and it was locked. But she had a key ring, so she pulled it out and started trying keys. There were only 10, so she just went through them one by one. Of course, the 10th key was the proper one. Always the last one. Ugh. The door opened right up. Lily let out a hoot of joy and success and proceeded into a really mundane-looking storage area. She wasn't sure what she expected, but somehow the fact that this area just contained neatly sorted boxes instead of a wonderland of forbidden electronics was a bit of a disappointment. Still, she started going through shelves looking for consoles. It wasn't too hard to find them. They're a common enough item, so it seems like they wanted to keep them easily accessible. She loaded a Switch into her cart and then decided to grab one of each of the others as well, because might as well. She was just about to turn to go when a thought hit her. This was the area where all the high-value items are being held, right? She should at least look around. So she did, wishing she had earmuffs or something. She snooped. A lot of it was stuff she hadn't really ever considered wanting to own, or big name parts that she had no use for, like video cards. But just as she was about to give up, she saw something that changed her priorities. Laptops. A bunch of laptops. She face-palmed, embarrassed that such an obvious device didn't even occur to her before now. But it would be very useful to have access to one, or a few. She was going to be scavenging a lot, and even as a place to consolidate the data she would want to keep. A second thought hit her. Data storage! Of course! Of course! Why did I talk like this now? Of course! She was so stupid. But first, the laptops. She really didn't feel like she had the time to spend being choosy, so she grabbed the 5 most expensive looking laptops and put them in her cart. 5! Now, data storage. She wouldn't want a few external hard drives and a bunch of USB drives. She would want to preserve all the media knowledge she could access after all. So she needed a lot. Fortunately, this was a lot easier than the other electronics. She found where they were stored easily enough and only had to look at capacity. Her eyes felt like they were gonna bulge out of her skull when she saw it. 22 terabytes. Damn! Though I can wish for the. Oh, please give. Since when had storage space gotten so insane? She'd been missing out locked in her apartment. She only took 5 of those as well, because her cart was getting pretty full. Finally, she had one more stop before she could get out of here. Heading into the store proper again, she found where USB flash drives were kept, and just grabbed every single one that would fit in her cart. They were small, so she managed to collect more than 50, shoving them all in. With that, she made her way back to the car to begin unloading. When stepping outside, at first she was happy to be away from the horrible alarm, but then she noticed something. The sun was starting to go down. She thought back and realized it must be getting close to 6 p.m. She had maybe 2 hours of sunlight left, and when the sun went down, it was going to get a lot more difficult to find things she was looking for, particularly a boat in a dark harbor. On top of that, the skyline was getting pretty full of smoke. The fires had been burning all day at this point, and were still seeming to grow rather than shrink. Cursing herself for letting her guard down during an emergency, Lily quickly loaded up the car with all of her spoils. She actually had a bit of trouble closing the trunk and fitting everything, but after redistributing items around the car and even into the passenger seat, she eventually got it all to fit. Now down an additional 10 minutes, she got into the car and headed towards the shore. She was pretty sure she knew where the harbor was. Time to download all Wikipedia, right? Well, we have time for one more chapter, because then it will be 0 to 5, and then we can do, because these are a bit longer than Shadow Slave chapters. Then we can do 5 chapters. So now we will do 0 to 5, and then we will do, 6 to 10, right? And then 11 to 15, stuff like that. That sounds good. A free online Wikipedia that nobody will ever edit? Yes! You have to get to the end of 5 if you're gonna stop there. It's the end of the prologue. Perfect! See, this, but that's why I was like, we should read this one as well. We should read this chapter as well, right? And that's end of prologue. Perfect. Perfect. Because then it looks prettier. Okie dokie. Chapter 5. Lily, in fact, did not know where the harbor was. She reached the shore with ease. All she had to do was head vaguely west and slightly north. She knew the basic layout of the geography well enough to do that much. But once she reached the shore, she realized she didn't actually know which direction to follow it. Surely, following it would eventually lead to a harbor. But would it lead to fire first? Will it? Oops. Oh. She decided she had no choice but to get out of the car and head down to the water to get a better look along the coast. Fortunately, it was just down a couple sets of stairs along the cliffside. Unfortunately, her knee was still aching from her fall this morning. It wasn't as bad as it had been, but the thought of climbing another couple flights of stairs was miserable, especially because she was already exhausted to the point of concern. But she didn't have access to a GPS, so this is all she could think to do. The trip down the stairs wasn't so bad. She even only needed to go halfway down to see what she wanted to see. There was a harbor not that far away, but it wasn't all good. From the oceanside view, she could see the fires had spread way better than from any other vantage point. They'd reached the coast in multiple locations, and the forested mountains behind the city were also ablaze. The fire was very much still spreading, and there were areas of the city that looked entirely cut off. Further, the harbor wasn't that far away from one of the blazes. Ew. The words from her phone this morning raging in her head. Better get moving. I really shouldn't have allowed myself to move so slow. With that, she started up the steps. It was a struggle. She knew it would be. Her body was just worn out at this point. When she was no longer in danger, she was going to need to take a nice long rest to get her stamina back up. Not to mention, she was certain she'd be sore for days after this. But she had no choice but to keep going. So she did. When she finally got up to the last step, she let herself fall forward onto the ground and lay there for a minute to catch her breath. But that was all the rest she could afford. So soon she was back in the car and headed towards the harbor. Her anxiety started to rise in her chest as she drove towards the smoke, especially when she started to smell it pretty heavily even inside the car. But she had seen from the shore that the harbor hadn't been swallowed up yet, and the path to it looked clear as well. So she continued forward. She knew she had to be close by. It's not like it was a mirage. A mirage? What is a mirage? It's not like it was a mirage. They didn't even work like that. She pressed on, and on, and on. Soon she could see a bit of smoke in the air. Things were just a little hazy, but she knew the harbor was fine, and if she could only get there and get out into the water, she'd be fine. She'd be safe. I just need to drive this car through a fire that's engulfing a whole city, to get to boats I don't know how to drive, and use one of them to get to safety. Yeah, not a big deal. I've got this. I parked in a red zone today. On purpose. For once, her attempt to lighten her own mood worked. At least a little bit. So she continued talking. Not only that, I left my apartment today. I broke into a house and 2 stores. I committed grand theft auto. I fought a ferocious beast and spared it after I won. I can do this. It's only a little more. The fire has been here the whole time. I'm just confronting it more head-on now. Yeah, this is the final boss. I've leveled up. There's nothing left in my way. Feeling re-energized, she sped up a little. A couple seconds later, she slowed again. Well, she wasn't going to drive recklessly. Although she probably did have reasons to not observe the speed limit quite so strictly. As she rounded the next corner, there it was. The harbor. She turned onto the little road that led down to the docks and right into the closest parking space. Instantly, she realized that unloading her stuff into a boat was going to be a pain in the ass. She should have brought a wheelbarrow or something. Oh well, no time for that now. So instead, she focused on the task at hand. She needed to find a boat. The boats in the harbor ranged from simple speedboats to bigger personal yachts. Her first inclination was to find the most ritzy boats she could. Maybe it would have electricity, or a bed, or a bathroom, even a kitchen. Some of the boats looked big enough. Getting herself excited, she approached the first one and walked up the deck and onto the boat. The first thing she noticed was that she was not particularly accustomed to the movement of the boat in water. It threw her off immediately. But she steadied herself and continued forward. The second thing she noticed was that the door to the inside of the boat was closed. With a feeling of growing apprehension, she approached the door. She grabbed the doorknob and locked. God fucking damn it! How come so many people cared so much about keeping people out of their shit? You're still screwing me over as ghost, you goddamn 1% motherfuckers. She screamed. She hit the door with a fist and instantly regretted it as pain blossomed down her arm. Ow! Fine! I don't want the nice yacht anyway. I'll settle for second best. She stomped down the ramp and down to the dock again, and went over to the second nicest looking yacht in the harbor. But she was confronted with the same issue. Her heart sank. Wait, if I need keys to even get into the boat... Oh shit. Oh no. Oh, I've made a big mistake. She would need keys to start a boat too. About. Really? About? She would need keys to start a boat too, wouldn't she? Her confidence faded in an instant. If she couldn't get a boat, what could she do? She looked back and saw the fire growing increasingly closer. What am I gonna do? She stood frozen, trying to push down the panic creeping up her spine and into her chest. Was it time to run and find another plan? Or did she keep trying to find a boat with onboard keys? Maybe some of the smaller ones had one of those pull cord starts. She was less certain she could drive one of those, but it would be better than burning. She wasn't going to make it. She had to leave. She had to leave right now. So you're telling me she's confident that she can drive a yacht? Okay. She made a dash to the car, got inside, and pressed the button to start it. She flipped it into reverse and pulled out, driving up the short road that led out to the main city, and saw the worst thing she could have imagined. The fire had continued to spread. She could see that if she tried to go down that way, she was cut off. She stopped. She was going to lose it. She was going to die. To burn to death in agony because she didn't think to wonder if boats needed keys. She couldn't do this. Of course she would die on day one. She was so fucking useless and helpless all the time. How dare she think she could grow at all, or rise to this challenge? She should just stop. Just stop right now. Lie down. Close her eyes. Let the fire overtake her. She was done. There was nothing to do. I should have just stayed in my apartment. I'm just not suited to live in this world. I shouldn't have tried so hard. I always fail. It just hurts more to try. She cried. She cried so hard that she couldn't even see. She couldn't breathe. The tears and snot ran down her face, and she couldn't even smell the smoke through it anymore. The inside of the car was beginning to heat up a little. She had an all-over feeling like the charge in the air from a storm. But she just kept crying. There was nothing to do. Please, please, anyone, please come save me. Please help. I can't do this alone. Help me, help me, help me. Help me, help me, help me, help me, help. She was interrupted. Her phone's alarm was going off. Alarm! Phone friend! Huh? Huh? She wiped her tears away as best she could and reached into the bag to drag forward her little luggage carrier. She pulled out her phone and looked at it. 7:48 p.m. Meet me at the docks, baby. What the fuck? What is this? The winky face. Why is there a winky face? What the hell? This phone. She stared at it in disbelief. She was so shocked. Her tears stopped. What? Well, there was only one thing to do. She turned around and drove back down to the docks. She didn't see anyone, so she got out of the car. Hello? Is anyone there? Nothing. Of course. So she continued forward a few steps. Were you trying to help me? Who are you? Please say something. She could hear the fire now, smell the smoke on the wind. Well, she was already here. Might as well look to see if there was even a rowboat she might be able to preserve her life with, even if it meant dying at sea instead of burning alive. Drowning was supposed to be better than fire, right? It wasn't hard to find what she was looking for. A small boat with an engine that looked like it started with a pull cord. She'd seen boats like this on TV and stuff, so maybe she could make it go. But it didn't have much room at all. Could she even fit a few days' worth of food and water on it just in case? Well, maybe. Though she wasn't confident in her ability to toss it down onto the boat accurately from here either. It was only about a 3-foot drop, but something as unwieldy as her cooler might not work. She should just give up. Give up. It isn't worth it. So what if she survives the night? She couldn't make it through one day. It was time to give up. Lie down and die like the worm that she is. The world clearly doesn't want her, so she should just stop Her phone alarm was going off. Oh, what is it this time, you liar? She shouted while she wiped it out. Wiped? I was like, wiped away her tears, but she whipped it out, damn. She shouted while she whipped it out. 7:54 p.m. Behind you! Oh my, I would have been so fucking motherfucking scared. Like, you don't even understand it. This would have been the creepiest thing ever. An overwhelming sense of dread filled Lily in an instant. She startled and spun as fast as she could, hands raised for a fight. No one was there. But there was a boat. The phone is a boat. A large boat. It was similar to the first yacht she tried, but this boat definitely hadn't been there just seconds ago. She knew it hadn't. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is happening? Am I going insane? Yes, that must be it. She walked carefully over to the boat. She touched the ramp with a foot to make sure it was solid before stepping fully down on it, up the ramp and onto the ship. Hello? Who's doing this? There was nothing but silence. So she approached the door that led into the cabin and below area, and grabbed the handle. There were keys in the lock. She turned them, and it opened right up. The lights were on inside. Hello? Is there anyone here? No one answered. I'm going to get my things. Please don't disappear. Please. She turned and started down the ramp when she saw a little transportation dolly. What is that? I don't know what a dolly is. Is it for a doll? But it's not a doll. It was long and flat, and on wheels and had a handle. She was too shocked to feel anything anymore. So she simply grabbed it and walked down to her car. Okay, I know what it is. Yeah, it helps you move heavy. Okay, yeah, I know what it is then. I just didn't know the English word. She opened it up and loaded everything onto the dolly. Pushing it was a little hard, but not a lot of what she had gotten was particularly heavy. She had a little trouble pushing it up the ramp, but it went up. Hello? Thank you, whatever, help me. Thank you. She pushed the dolly into the cabin and found the captain's chair. She wasn't sure that's what it was called, but whatever. She reached to put the keys into the console and closed her eyes for a moment. Please work. They did. The engine roared to life with no difficulty. There was a wheel and a throttle that could go forward or back, windows that would allow her to see around the outside, and even some cameras that displayed on the inside via screens. It didn't seem too complicated. Sure. Aside from generally making sure not to run into anything. So she pulled back on the throttle very, very lightly. Sure enough, the boat moved backwards slowly. Lily let out a nervous, overwhelming ha. Okay, I can do this. I just have to be careful. My god, she's gonna fucking drive a yacht. That's fine. And who is this mysterious person that's also a phone and can also spawn things? Insane. In the central harbor of Santa del Mar, a city engulfed in flames by the sea, a single yacht pulled out into the water. It was moving very slowly and clumsily, but it was moving. From the haze of smoke from the inferno, it emerged out into the clear water, traveling perpendicular from the coast straight into the bay. The smoke obscured the sky in many places, and it had a bright red hue from the sun setting over the sea. Soon it would be nighttime, But before that, a girl walked out onto the deck and found the anchor. It took her a few tries to get it to descend, but it was lowered by a sort of electric winch. She did finally get it to drop into the water, and let it fall for quite some time. She felt it when it hit the bottom. Satisfied, she pulled it up just enough so there was no slack in the chain. This should keep me settled, right? Right, mysterious boat stranger helper? Wait, you're not the boat, are you? Like a sentient boat? Boat? Why did I say boat? Like a sentient boat? Talking to me through my phone? That's what I said. She was glad no one had been around to hear that, but she shrugged and made her way inside. The inside of the yacht was quite nice. It had electricity. She thought she saw some largish solar panels outside, but they were up high enough and she was tired enough that she didn't feel like examining them right now. There was a comfortable looking bed, a small kitchen, a bathroom, the captain's chair, and an even small living room area with a TV, even a Blu-ray player. She loaded her perishable foods into the fridge in the kitchen and closed herself in the cabin. This day had been a nightmare, but she was finally safe. She could relax. She climbed onto the couch in her little living area, put in a random disc from the box set of Friends, hell yeah, that was close at hand, and watched half an episode before she fell asleep. The second she had stopped moving and working was the second her energy completely gave out. Lily woke from a dreamless sleep. The title screen of her friend's disc was repeating the intro sting loudly. She reached up and turned it off, feeling miserable. After taking a second to use the bathroom, she decided to see if she could still see the burning city in the dark outside. So she wobbled up onto the deck and sat down. It was dark. It was so dark. She looked around the sides of the ship, but she saw nothing. Like she was floating in a completely empty void. It was almost relaxing. She could see a little bit of the light from the moon glinting out of the water, but there was no other light to be seen. Not from shore, not from the sky, nothing. It must be all the smoke cover. So she lay down for a minute and watched the sky. The sky had been a lot of things to her over these last 24 hours. And now she suddenly felt like she was floating in it. The most insignificant speck of dust in existence. Floating in an abyss the size of the universe with only the moon to keep her company or give her any idea of scale. Wait, that wasn't right. She woke up a little more, her mind struggling to turn. Something was off. She could feel the gentle rocking of the boat underneath her, so she wasn't in the air or something. What was it? She looked at the moon again. The moon? What about the moon? Hello, Heisergram, new novel, yay! The visible moon, with no smoke obscuring it. That can't be right. How could she see the moon? How could... Oh god. No. No. I'm just being stupid. It's an illusion. Something is happening. But she knew it was real. She stared up into the sky. The perfectly cloudless and smokeless sky, without the lights of the city to drown out the view. In that perfect clear inky abyss, there was not a single star in sight. Ha! I really am going insane. But there's no stars. The stars are gone. The stars are gone and the people are gone. But there is at least one dog and at least one human. The stars are gone. The moon is there. Okay. We will see then. Very interesting so far. I'm intrigued. I like it. I want to continue reading it, so we will. I'm enjoying this novel so far. It's quite fun. Yeah, it is. I'm really glad. Oh, me too. It would have been so annoying if it sucked. But it really doesn't. So I'm happy. But it doesn't at all. It's nice. I like it. It's fun. Just like Diamond Cat said, I'm enjoying this novel so far. It's quite fun. It is. Thank you so much for writing it. Thank you so much for letting me read it. We will continue to do so tomorrow as well. We will see if the boat is sentient and speaks to Lily through her phone. We will hopefully have some more clues about why the people just disappear and why now the stars are gone. But all of that we will see next time. Of course, it's been an incredible honor to listen to you read my story. Yay! You're gonna continue tomorrow, same time? Probably the same time, yes. Good luck reading up to volume 2. Thanks. We will do it. No problemo. I'll try to be here. Thank you. I want more of this. Thank you. I will also upload them on YouTube so don't worry if anyone wants to. They will be saved. There will be a YouTube video and VOD. But I will continue to read this story just like we did with Shadow Slave at around this time. Monday, Tuesdays, Thursday, Fridays, mostly. This Friday I can't though, but tomorrow we will. But usually I don't stream on Wednesdays, but I did it today because I've been gone 2 days this week. But yes. And now my very hungry little person. Thank you! It was nice having you here. It was cool. It's always nice to have the author as well. Be like, hello. I'm like, hi. You wrote this. Oi. Okay. Thanks for the chapter. I'm enjoying the read. Yay! But now I think I will take a little streaming break at least. I'm hungry as fuck and this was long and I have to edit this, upload this, and then we can continue to stream probably. Might do some shiny hunting. It's been a while. I am in mood for singing. Aw, thanks. Aw, no problem, no problem. Twitch is being a goof. Give me a minute. Oh, thank you! Thank you so much, Tamalicious, for the follow. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so we will take a streaming break at least. So I can edit. And thank you, Violet, as well, for the follow. Go off to bed. I appreciate it so much. Thank you again for letting me read this. Have a good night, all of you. And now we will go over to the end screen for now. And we will play the Wawas and I will talk. Oh, good luck. Good luck seems weird. It will be fine. Don't worry. But thank you so much for coming and watching my little stream today on a Wednesday of all days. We will continue to reading this novel, and we will do so tomorrow at the same time as I already said. But until then, feel free to go and follow me on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, and we have the Discord server, which is the most important server of all time. Because that's where all announcements gets made. All that shit. Go and join it. It takes 2 seconds. Thank you so much for doing so. I hope you have a nice rest of your day, and I will see you maybe later or otherwise tomorrow. Hey, bye bye!